Darwish is a political analyst and he joins me now live from London. Good to have you here on the show. The continuous violation of the ceasefire between warring military factions has certainly raised concerns about the effectiveness of the truce. So tell me, in your opinion, what does this indicate about the underlying tensions and power struggles within Sudan?
Thank you very much for having me. I mean, in all fairness, we've seen the ceasefires, in the recent ceasefires themselves haven't held as they should have. I mean, they've provided an avenue to be able to evacuate people in some instances, but we've had incidents of shelling while the ceasefires have held. But in essence, it's down to the fact that both of the two generals see themselves as being able to win this war and not wanting to be able to want to make concessions. So it's quite difficult in that instance to try to, broker a ceasefire or have a ceasefire hold, where the two parties who are supposed to, in principle, come to an agreement on these ceasefires, both genuinely think that, the only resolution to this is a victory for either side.
And Hanad, the experts would argue that if these ceasefire violations continue to happen, this could very well lead to a civil war. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. If we've seen sort of the rate at which the conflict has sort of escalated in the last 2 weeks would indicate that. And it has implications beyond the borders of Sudan. Of course, as we saw, the government in Chad recently had to disarm a number of people who've crossed over the border, that they numbered in the hundreds. It could have an impact on that disputed area in South Sudan where people are fleeing into also. The war in Tigray. So the implications of a continuing violence go well beyond the borders of Sudan, as we know. And of course, I completely agree that that's where it could end up if something doesn't give anytime soon.
Right, and I want to talk about the role that the international community has to play here. So far, the focus of the international community has been on evacuating foreign nationals from Sudan. But is there anything that you think the international community should be doing at this point to bring about an end to this conflict?
Well, absolutely. You have to sort of commend the international community in one way. It's evacuating the number of people they have done in recent days. Despite the challenges that persist. But of course, more could be done. We have instances, if I could sort of stick on evacuating people for a moment, where citizens, the families of citizens who unfortunately were not citizens themselves or didn't have visas have been left behind by many countries. So of course, there are things that we can do there. But I think it's vital. Of course, Secretary Blinken, I'm aware, is speaking with the Egyptians. That we often forget that some of the reasons why this conflict started are quite. You have to look back in time, in essence, at what previous administrations have done. The previous US administration, sort of delegated to regional actors to do their bidding in Sudan, as it were. So we have to look at putting pressure not just on the two generals, but on countries that have traditionally been allied with the two parties. In Egypt and in the Gulf, and I think that more certainly could be done on that end, and that could be an avenue into forcing the generals to come to some sort of agreement.
All right, Hanad Darwish, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World.